The question about my views on these two taxes are that they are necessary, but they are feeding this central conundrum that we are dealing with here in Burlington, that we are expanding the cost of providing critical services, both affordable housing and public safety in this case, while not expanding the number of people who are paying for it. It's like going out to dinner with 4 people, and you split the check 4 ways, and if you go out with 6 people, and the bill's a little bit more affordable. That's what when we talk about expanding our tax base, that's essentially what we're talking about. More specifically on the public safety tax, I think this is really important to recognize. This is a lean budget. This is not a bloated tax increase that we are requesting. This is going to add a new ambulance to our city and 9 new firefighters to our community. That is absolutely, we have an amazing team at the fire department, and bringing 9 new people on board to be a part of that team is a good thing. The Board of Finance did its due diligence, as did the full council. This is not frivolous spending. And the Housing Trust Fund, as we talk about all the time, is critical because of the need for increased affordable housing. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the tax increases. Sorry, folks. Well, I think that taxes are, they're already burdensome for the average Vermonter, especially Burlingtonian. So I'm not an advocate for tax increases in general in the way that we have it. But for these particular items, of course, I'm supportive of increasing our tax increase. Did you say 5 seconds? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. So I think that we have a very regressive taxation system here in the city, and we need to find more progressive ways to form revenue.
I can give you a couple more seconds if you want. I think there was a thought there was a rebuttal, so I just want to make sure that, did you?
You get another 30 seconds.
Oh, he thought I was rebutting, so, all right. I'm going to keep going.
Sorry, Bob. See,
Sorry.
Again, not in charge.
All right, well, long story short, we need to bring large institutions into the taxation process in this city, such as the hospital and UVM. These monstrous organizations on top of the hill, should have some kind of involvement with our taxation process. And I think that, we shouldn't be shifting the burden onto, people like you and I in this city. I don't know about the numbers of population, if that should matter or not. It really comes down to where we're getting that revenue and how we can make this a progressive system rather than a regressive taxation system.
All right, Jane, thank you so much. I'm sorry for skipping you. I'll make sure I'm on top of it in the future. Adam, you wanted to use a rebuttal at this time, so I'll give you 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think that we need to be looking at different ways to expand our tax base, but I think we also need to be realistic about the powers that a city council has, because we're running for city council, not for governor, not for state senate. The thought that we would be able to somehow tax nonprofits at a rate that's going to fix our tax issue is unrealistic. We have payment in lieu of taxes that we need to be pursuing, I think, more aggressively. But when we talk about expanding our tax base and having institutions be a part of the affordability issues in town, we have to be realistic about what the powers that we have are.
All right, thank you, Adam. Jane, you want to use a rebuttal? All right, Jane is going to use 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
Well, I think that a UVM, and all large institutions in the city, they don't pay the same type of taxes that we pay. And I think that needs to change. And I think participatory budgeting in general should be more of a reality for us, and it should be more of an inclusive system in terms of where we are allocating our money and getting our tax revenue.
Jane, let me ask a follow-up to that, because I guess I need a little bit more clarity about how you would exactly, what kind of policy you would create in order to create this fair taxation you're talking about for these organizations.
Well, I think that, this goes back to the time of Bernie and Clavel with their franchise fee. That was a very progressive idea for their time. And I think we should do something like that, even though we do have that kind of in practice as is. It can be a lot stronger, and especially in times like, 2020 is a lot different than the 1980s. So I think that we should instate some type of system like that that's a lot stronger and really does actually bring in UVM. Just because it's a nonprofit doesn't mean that there are not entities associated with that university that can help us out.
All right, thank you, Jane.